am Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome back. Welcome back to I Am Negan, a TWD Universe podcast. My name is Adam Vale. I'm an editor over at the Koalition. Tonight I'm joined by Richard Bailey Jr., the editor-in-chief over at the Koalition, and Carlos Romero from Throwdown. What's up, guys?
Yo, what's going on, people?
What's up, everybody?
Oh, man. All right, so we got a lot of new listeners, some new followers, all different platforms. So I just got to give the heads up for all of you. Yes, this is a spoiler. We're not just going to discuss. It's a spoiler. We are aware it's a week early. People are like, still, how is this happening? You guys are getting screeners and ruining. No. Yeah, we could get the screeners, but that's not how this is happening. AMC Plus, right there. If you go on their website, you sign up, $4.99. You can watch all these episodes a week early. So if you have not watched this episode and you want to see it right now, go ahead, sign up. Boom, it's there. If not, if you don't care, you want to get spoiled, or you just want to listen later, go ahead. You can just pause this and then come back later, because we are going to discuss and review this episode, because this was an awesome episode. Love this episode. But yeah, just wanted to give that heads up right off the bat, just in case, because there's always some people that once they tune in, they're like, oh, what's going on? You're No. This is, we're not doing anything shady here, people. This is it. It's legit. All right. So, man, I was excited. This is season 11, episode 4, Rendition. This was right. All right, real quick. I thought this is my favorite so far. What about you guys?
It's up there for sure. I don't know. I think it's too early for me to declare it as my favorite, at least this episode. But it's up there. It's not among the worst. It's definitely in the top tier. Yeah, I think that's all I have for that.
All right. So I was just wondering, because I watched it and I was super hyped. I was like, oh wow, this is great. I just liked the camera work. I liked the dialogue. Sometimes some of the things that some of these characters say just doesn't fit, but everything fits, especially with Daryl. So we'll just get into that real quick. But yeah, real quick, just to get out of the way, because I sort of ran over it. Thanks again. Like I said, we got a lot of new listeners over on Spotify and iTunes and on YouTube. You can find us everywhere pretty much. And just thanks. There's a lot of new faces and new listeners, so this is great. You guys are all in for the ride. This is the last season, but remember, we also cover Fear the Walking Dead and World Beyond, which both start up in October at the same time. So We'll see, and the CRM and how that plans out. And apparently it's going to connect all three of them in some way. So, and we already know some of that, and we'll get into it when that comes about. But, all right, so let's get into this episode. Right off the bat, it's all one. We're all on one trip here, which is Daryl's story. From the past 3 episodes, we've seen the flip-flop with what's going on, whether it's last one was Alexandria and then Maggie's crew, and then before that we had Eugene and them at the Commonwealth dealing with that whole situation. But no, this one is all dedicated to Daryl and what happened right after the end of episode 2, when they were on the road at night and then the Reapers attack. So now we see from his perspective what took place. He goes running, he's fighting with a dude, the dog gets tries to help him out, he gets hurt, he goes running off. Right, so again, that's the other part of this. It's always with Daryl. It's him running after this dog that puts him in these weird situations. That happened in the subway tunnel. Him trying to find his dog that took him on that whole alternate path, and finding the guy with the grenades and all that stuff. And here we are again. Now he's running after this dog from night to day. And we see he's just out there in the field wandering. And then we get another good look of this Reaper that's following him, and he has a mask on just like all the other ones, which remind me of Ghost Recon, or any of those, like a Call of Duty Ghost series was infamous for, because the whole group had like masks on and stuff, and that's what I was getting from here. So the best part of this is that while he's still looking for this dog, I would have given up on this dog already. At this point, I'm like, come on now. This is an apocalypse. We got these crazy guys chasing us, and now I have to go track this dog down. But he hears a dog off in the distance, and we know that there is that one Reaper that's tracking him. And then poof, right in front, got the Reaper there. The dog is calm. For me, that was a dead giveaway. I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. And sure enough, the mask comes off. It's Leah. Dun 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 dun. Leah is back. And I know right off the bat, some people will be like, Leah, who's Leah? Because believe it or not, a lot of people sort of brushed off those last episodes of Walking Dead when they came back and they did those episodes that were side stories. And I know this only because of the ratings. The ratings were very low for all of those episodes. So right there just tells me a lot of people just didn't take it serious. Like, what? This is side stuff? If you're a hardcore Walking Dead fan, yeah, you're going to watch it regardless, right? It's Walking Dead. But for those who just wanted the actual story arc to continue, they obviously fell off. So for those who don't know, this is in that story arc that it was like a flashback and he found a cabin and that's where he picked up dog, but then there was a woman there and he had a relationship. And long story short, we covered that. You can go back and you can take a look at those episodes, the final episodes of season 10. We covered it. But point is, he went back looking for it. She was gone. And that was it. And it's always been part of his journey that he was looking for her. He had to find her. First he was looking for Rick. Now he was looking for Leah. And there she is. Leah with the dog. So what did you guys think when you saw that? Did you feel like this was just add-in or you felt this all made sense?
Well, I made a prediction last season where I thought that Leah was going to be the sort of the cause of sort of the Rick and Carol. I mean, not the Rick, the Daryl and Carol show. I thought she was going to be like the catalyst somehow, which is still a possibility. But yeah, I didn't expect to see her this soon. But obviously with the group that we've seen, it makes sense why she's there. Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see her, just because the episodes last season did seem a little bit like a spin-off, but it's good to know that they're still interconnected. They're still useful to pay attention to because they have consequences in the future, and they all came into fruition this episode. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see her.
Mm-hmm. Rich?
Yeah, I think it made perfect sense because they had to make those episodes meaningful. So the bonus episodes they had last season, now it is more impactful since this character shows up once again. Also, to one point that Carlos made when we did recap that show, now Connie has a chance to have a relationship with well, Daryl.
Well, you would think that until we'll get to it. It's all about the expressions, and that's what I love about this. The camera work, the acting was awesome, especially on Norman Reedus' end, because there's a lot of you have to read his face. There's no I was playing with my phone and I had it on in the background moments. You had to just focus on the episode because we'll get to it, but there's a lot of where you have to track his eye movements and what he's trying to just give off because of the situation that he's in, and we'll get to that. But yeah, you never know. Maybe Connie. I mean, man, Connie's been missing for a minute now. This is. You would think at some point they would go back to show. Well, we know she got out of the cave. Remember that? That was the last we saw of her. That she got out and somebody picked her up, and poof, that's it. Who knows? We might be. Hey, what do you think? I think she might be at the Commonwealth. That's just my theory right there. Somebody picked her up. Maybe she's at the Commonwealth.
Well, I don't think so. The Commonwealth is just way too far away. I mean, they crossed the whole city to get to the Commonwealth.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Somebody picked her up, though. So maybe that person picked her up. I don't know. Remember, we also saw Michonne with the caravan that she came across. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, if that were to happen and someone from the Commonwealth picked her up, I would have issues with it. Just logistics sake. Like, we know how far away the Commonwealth is from all the Alexandria sort of. Yeah. So to have people that went that far away to get someone just seems a little bit strange. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, also remember that Virgil has her. Virgil is the one that
yes,
the crazy madman. He's the one that has her now. He's so it's. I guess at some point we're going to see both of those characters come back, unless something happens to Virgil and he doesn't make it back.
That is true. That is true. All right, so let's get back into this. So instantly when she reveals herself, she then points her gun and she's like, "Tell me about your group." And I was like, "What group? I'm a loner." I love the fact that he sees the situation and he doesn't just go running to her like, "Oh wow, it's me. Everything is great now. Come on." What? Yeah, those are my friends. Remember my buddies? No. He realizes just from the mask and everything, she's one of them. And he knows right off the bat that those people are just straight up bad. All of them are bad. Think about it. We saw them on the road. They didn't say, "Hey, how you guys doing? You want?" No, they instantly started throwing their knives and axes. They were ready for war. So I like the fact that he just picks it up. He's like, "No, I was alone. You know me. I'm a loner. It's just me and the dog. So can I get my dog back and we'll be on my way?" He was ready to just bounce. Like, forget about the fact that he's been looking for forever. He just, no, this is a bad situation, recognizes it right away. And she's like, no, tell me more, whole big thing. And then all of a sudden you see the other Reapers surround him. So there goes. Yep.
I just like the fact that, him lying to her from the beginning paid off at the end.
Oh yeah.
Because if he were to tell her about the group and all of that,
yes,
he still would have been locked up.
But everything, I mean, man, there's always been an interesting aspect of the character Daryl, and just the way Norman Reedus plays this character, because he doesn't show much emotion on his face, and even his tone really changes, unless he's angry. But most of the time, it's just, "All right, yeah. Well,
I want dog.
Yeah, I gotta get dog. Well, we gotta go help the others. All right, even if someone's missing, it's like, well, we're gonna go save him. Yeah, let's go save him. It's like it's never like, come on, whatever. But so the next scene we see he has a bag over his head. They're dragging him into I would say like a cabin type of room or a shed. I wanted to say shed until what we saw toward the end of this episode. But yeah, it definitely looks like its own little separated cabin in the Reapers compound that they have. And they start torturing him. We get a little bit of everything. 1 minute, Leah comes in and she just starts asking questions because the other guys are grilling him about the group, and she's asking him questions. "Just tell me." And he's like, "I came back for you. You weren't there." And he's like, "You left me. That's why you left." And he's like, "Yeah, but I came back." It's like, but it's true. You did leave. And next, we see she's getting waterboarded. I mean, they were doing all this stuff, and he just kept saying, "I'm by myself." They're like, "That's a lie. Tell us the truth." It's like, "No, who's the leader?" "I don't know what the leader is. I was just trading with them, and then you guys started attacking. I'm not part of their group." And he telling me, "I never lie to you. Well, you know that I don't." It was just so crazy because he's saying this again with his just monotone and not changing, and with the dead-eyed on her. He's a good liar, and we're learning that right here. He is a very legit liar. Like, he was just, "Come on, it's just me and my dog." Like that movie The Road. Didn't we watch that in the cabin? Come on. So what did you think of that whole thing? Did you think he was going to, when he was getting tortured and all that stuff, that he was going to just leak some info at any point?
No, he's Daryl.
Right? He is Daryl.
We know this.
Right, yeah.
He's gonna die before he'll do any of that. Yeah, I did like, it was a pretty graphic scene, that whole torture part with the waterboarding. I'm like, damn, they're going that far. But I mean, they're ex-military, so
Yeah. Well, that's when because they start going, it gets into it. He starts going back and forth because she was like, "This is my family. They found me again." I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, because remember, she was in the military, and it sort of hints at it, and later on we get more clarification on it. But yes, they're mercs, and they found her back. Who knows? Maybe she wandered to them. I don't know how they found her, but they found her because she was just at that cabin. And so that's it. So they're mercs for hire, and this is what they were doing, and that's why they're trained, and they have their masks and their weapons and all that stuff. And they want to know what's going on with him and that crew. So, but they seem to. Well, it's clear for anyone that was even doubting that, well, maybe this isn't the Reapers, because they haven't said the Reapers. They haven't called themselves the Reapers. We haven't heard the Reapers at all from this season. We only know that from last season with Maggie.
Yeah, and another different thing is, didn't they say that the Reapers always acted alone? Like we knew there are correlations though, because they did say that the group must be really small, and I think that's how Daryl came to the conclusion. And this is going a little bit forward when he told her, "Oh, there's only 15 of you."
Well, I was
So,
thinking
yeah.
he was doing a head count while he was there. That's what I was assuming when he mentioned that number. We'll get to
But
that. But what Maggie was saying when she said with that one guy following last season that was hunting them down, and she said, well, the fact that they only sent one means that they're probably low in numbers, or else he would have gone on with. That's why when she brought that up, that's why she suggested that they go back to that old base to go get their supplies, because like there can't be many of them if they sent out one to hunt us down. But who knows? Maybe he was a Rambo badass who was like, yo, it's just me and my sniper. I don't need my gun. I don't need anybody else. We don't know.
And these guys didn't. These guys didn't use any ammunition or guns or anything like that. As far as I remember, they're using knives and axes and stuff. So I'm surprised they let that one lone wolf just use all the sniper ammo and stuff. But
and they didn't mention him. They didn't mention that
Yeah.
guy. We'll get to who they do mention, but it's not him.
that is true.
So I don't know. It gets interesting. So they go back and forth on that, and she was like, "Well, I can't protect you if you're not gonna give answers and help us out." And it's like, "I tell you all I know," and she's like, "Nope, that's it." I was like, "All right, well then kill me." That's what he said. He was like, "I'm ready to die. I don't care," and that's another part there. It's like he's willing to die for the cause. He's not gonna rat anybody out. He's like, just end it. And he's been through a lot. We all know he's been through a lot, and we'll get to that later on. So.
Before that, I wanna ask you guys. Now that we raised the question, do you guys think these are the Reapers, the ones that tortured Maggie's camp and essentially ransacked it?
Yeah, they said it's the Reapers.
Well, I didn't hear them say it, but I know only because when they were torturing him, the one dude said, "Is there a woman that's leading you guys? Is it a woman? Is she the leader?" And so then he has to be talking about Maggie.
Yeah, but it is the Reapers because Angela Kang said after the show.
No. See, yeah. She said after, but that's what I'm saying. The show itself hasn't said it. So
yeah.
That's the issue that I have with this. Yes, after she's the showrunner, she's been saying it all along. But the actors have not said the name. They just said a group. The only time we ever heard Reapers was last season. So yeah, it has to be the Reapers. They're military trained. Even that one guy with the sniper, he was very good with the weapon. He also had a mask on. Remember that whole thing going on? So definitely we know that. It's just odd that they still haven't been addressed by name in this. Minus the showrunner saying it after the episode.
Gotcha.
So they drag him down. They put him in the cell because they were like, no, we're gonna keep going at this. Because they wanted to keep doing the waterboarding, and she was like, no, we'll figure it out. I'll figure something out. And they put him in a cell, and we see why they put him in a cell. Because one of the members of that group, I didn't recognize him. He's one of the guys from her crew that Maggie had that was with them on the road, but he was all banged up looking, couldn't really tell, and he recognized him. And Daryl was like, "Hey, Daryl, is that you?" And he's like, and then this is what I'm saying. It's like you could, if you're just like looking at your phone or you're doing some other things, some people do that when they're watching shows, you would miss all the cues that Daryl was sending, because you could hear up on top of the stairs there's someone standing guard, obviously. So he looks over at the guy, but then he's like doing the shifty eye movement with his just pointing up, like, "No, what do you mean? Yeah, but I'm not part of your group. Just because we traded with some, supplies and grains doesn't make us friends. I don't know anything about you guys." And he just keeps shifting his eyes like they're listening. Just go with it. That type of thing.
Yeah.
And
so who was it?
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't. If people go ahead, leave it in the comments if you recognize this dude. He's clearly a member of their crew that was with them in the subway tunnels. But this guy, because he knew it, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's Daryl," and he quickly picked up on that, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and like he knew, he got it. He's like, "All right, we gotta," because he also wasn't saying anything, and that's why he was in there.
Yeah.
See, the comment that I will make is the fact that he wasn't brought up again in the post-show conversation lets me know, I guess he's not an important character. because
A red shirt.
they should have reminded us of who this guy is.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They didn't bring anything up with him, and he was just clearly just a reasoning for him to go down there and to see if if Daryl would spew any info, like, oh wait, did they get away? You know, that type of stuff, and to see if he had any emotional connection to this guy. That's the other thing, we don't know. I mean, we hear the issue going forward into this part when once Daryl goes back and forth with the guy. It's like, hey, listen, I'm not your friend. I don't care. Just leave me alone. I want to deal with you or your group. Look, you already got me into this type of mess. Then that's when the other guy comes down, one of the Reapers, along with Leah, and he's down there. And then Leah comes down and he says, oh, we found one of the bodies, one of our own. Another one is hurt or missing, and then they found one that's definitely dead. And it was like, what? Who? It's like, it's Turner. Right? That's what they keep saying, the name Turner. So they go upstairs, and I thought, I got thrown off when I saw this scene. So that's Pope, and there's a body, which I'm assuming is Turner, and he's dead. And I was like, he's chanting something. Like, is he trying to revive him? He's doing a dark ritual. I'm like, what is this? We're going back into the cult, but yet this is a mercenary group. It was, and at the time we did not know. At this point, we still don't know his name is Pope. But or do we? It's somewhere within here we heard a chatter. I think somebody had mentioned it was Pope. But anyway, it just was very weird to see because I wasn't sure if he was trying to fix him or something. You know what I mean, right? He was like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? Are you going to send him to Valhalla, or are you trying to bring his soul back? What is going on here? No, but it was a very odd scene. But what did you guys think of that?
Well, I did think that was an odd scene. When I did see Pope at the very first time they introduced the character, he says that God is angry, that God is here and God is angry, and I will get vengeance because I am a chosen one. I instantly thought to myself, when are we going to see him have a showdown with Father Gabriel?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. Before I move forward, Carlos, anything about the crazy, weird ritual that we saw with Pope?
Yeah, I was kind of confused as well, and obviously I didn't get a good look at the dude, so I don't. Obviously, we're just assuming that only one person died from that whole scuffle, and it was the guy that got killed on that that warehouse looking place where Maggie and Negan were.
Well, they said two others are missing. That was the other part. They said,
okay.
Remember, she had mentioned, like, well, there's two others missing. So, yeah, I'm assuming one of them has to be that's there. And who knows? Maybe the other one is the sniper dude, but that was some time ago. So maybe I don't think
right.
I don't think now they're still worried about him. It's like,
right. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting. We're starting. This is sort of the beginning. Even though we got a glimpse of him, I don't know if it was in the preview or it was at the end of last episode, but the character Pope, and things get pretty weird after that with that character.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting if you ask me.
Yeah, so she says she's going to break him. She's going to figure it out. So she goes down. She goes down 2 times. But the first time she goes down and she sees him, she starts talking. She's like, just tell us what you know. And then he goes back to the same thing. He's like, I came back for you. What's going on with you? What's all this happening? Well, why are you And she was like, oh, you don't understand. These are my people. And one of our guys died. And he was like a little brother to me. And she just goes on to this whole rant about stuff. And I don't know. It didn't do much for me with all that, because it's like, at this point, what are you trying to do with presenting all this information about your crew and all this stuff to Daryl? Because she was like, you have to tell us. You have to tell us this whole thing. And he's like, no, I'm not going to tell you anything. Whatever. I don't know anything. I've never lied to you, with a straight face, because he's clearly lying now. All of this is a lie. So when I heard all that, and then she's like, all right, well, and then she goes back up, and then the next thing was like, she's back up there, and then she's talking with Pope about the whole thing, and this is where we get more insight on what's going on with Pope, and he's like, I don't know about this guy. He's like, no, I think I can get him, I could turn him, and it's like, I think this is just your boyfriend or whatever, your love interest, because at first I was thinking, well, maybe they're in a relationship. She is the only woman of the group, from what we've seen here. So, and she seems to be like a second in command because she's sort of running the show because she was bossing the other guys around what to do and stuff. But clearly, Pope is the commander, and she calls him that. He's the commander. But she definitely has some hierarchy in the structure here. And
but
so
it seems like it seems like for her, it's like she obviously still has a lot of feelings for Daryl, and she's trying every which way to get him to sort of, be part of the group, or at least be someone that can cooperate so he can survive. That's the feeling that I got at the beginning, and obviously it came into fruition at the end. But yeah, it's like I just, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I find it funny that the way that he cracked was just telling, like, kind of information that didn't really make sense to me.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like they already kind of knew.
But
it's like, she's a leader. Maggie's a leader essentially.
But that's what I love, and we'll get to that because that's coming up now. So the other guy that was in the cell, right? That we don't really remember who he was, but he's part of that group. He had got taken out at some point, and then they brought him back, and he was even a little more beat up. So who knows? And I guess he still didn't crack because if he did, he could have spilled all kinds of stuff, and they didn't know anything. And that's why she went through this whole long speech trying to get Daryl to talk. So once she tells Pope this whole thing, and Pope is like, well, I think he just wants to get in your pants. I think it doesn't even matter, what happens here with him. You could have just put him down when you saw him outside, but you didn't. You brought him in here, and now he's here. And she is like, no, I think we can use him. I think we could get him in. And so she goes downstairs again, and this time she sits down on the floor in front of the cell, and she starts getting all emotional about, life and this and that and family, and, this is all I have. And at this point, I'm sure Daryl has had plenty of time to think, and he is not buying any of this shit. And I love the fact that we know this, because he was like, all right, yeah, there's a woman, she's in charge, and she's alongside a tall, skinny man and a priest with a shotgun. And once I heard that, I cracked up, because I was like, here he goes. Now he's going to go and he's going to tell his story about all this and just feed into it. It's like, oh, you want some info? I'll tell you something. It's going to be wrong, and they'll probably scare you. Because then he says, oh, I also heard one of them, because they were talking in code, because I was an outsider. But one of them said they was going to go back and get, 3 dozen more men. So they have a lot more people compared to, that's what you said, calls the 15 that you have. So I guess at some point, even though he was in that room and they took the bag off and the waterboarding, he was still able to make a head count, because when he was outside, when they were dragging him in, he had the bag over his head. So there's no way he could have seen from other locations in the compound. But whatever, I don't know. He threw a good number and she didn't dispute it. So yeah, he was like, you're 15 compared to theirs. You're definitely going to be outnumbered. And that was it. That's all I know. That's why.
Can you guys remember how many people were in that in the initial fight? When they're all walking, they're all strutting like it's a fucking catwalk on the street. It was like, it seemed like maybe close to 10 people.
With
they had most of their,
with Negan and all of them that end.
Yeah, when they encountered Negan, Maggie, and Daryl. No. I'm talking about the other. I'm talking about the other group.
Oh, the other group. There was only 3 that I saw.
No, hell no.
Wait,
there's a lot more than 3.
Which one? I'm talking about the Reapers.
The Reapers, when they were you see them walking in and they start fighting and they threw an axe and hit that one guy. Mm-hmm. It's like there was I feel like most of their group was there. So it was just curious that most of their group was in one place.
So I'm assuming 4. And I'll tell you.
I'm gonna look back.
Yep. I'll tell you why I say 4, because we know there's the one that got injured who carried Turner back, right? So there's 2.
Yeah.
And then when Leah was telling Pope that they're still missing 2 other members, so that's it. There you go, 4. And I'm assuming also that they found the sniper, or they presume that sniper guy, the lone wolf, dead, because no one seems to care about him. They didn't bring up.
No one cares about the dude.
Nobody cares about the dude. Right? And who knows? Maybe he had his own vendetta, and he was like, I'm going to go out there and kill. We don't know. Yeah, maybe they'll come back to it. Maybe they won't. No. But so he spews this information. So then she goes up and she sees it as a win. And I'm like, how do you see that as a win? You think...
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I
Yo.
can count them right now.
Now,
I'm looking
cool.
at
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12 people. I'm looking at this. I'm
Okay.
looking at the clip, and there's at least 12 people there. 1, 2,
So-
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At least 11. One is kind of 11. Yeah, 12. There's 12 people.
All right, so if there's 12 right off the bat, so we're assuming that Pope is not one of them. He stays back. So then that would be 13, and then 2 more. I don't know. Who are the other 2?
So it's just
If there's
surprising
13.
that they had their whole squad just
They were
rolling
all,
up.
They were all ready. That's the other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. Because it doesn't seem like they were close to the camp. That was just one of the... Because that's the radio tower.
He said he carried on his back for 10 miles.
That's what I'm saying. They weren't close. So how did they know? Was it just by chance that they were patrolling at night and then they saw Maggie and friends? I'm like, oh, there we go, contact.
Let's do the strut.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Or maybe the guy was exaggerating. Oh, 10 miles, you know what I mean? That type of thing. I walked 5 miles up and down the hill to go to school. So maybe it was that type of thing. But yeah, so Leah goes back in, tells Pope, I did it. I broke him. I told you. You know, he told me everything about what's going on with Maggie, this and that. I'm telling you, we can use him. We're already down a person, and we don't know where the other 2 are. And, you know, I think we can bring him in. And Pope's like, you really think this is something we can do? And he's like, oh, yeah. No. She's all in on it. And at this point, I'm like, I don't believe that she believes him. I was like, how could you just believe what he just said? I mean, you just waterboard, you're beating him, all this stuff. I don't understand that. That's it.
Well, it's more like she wants to believe.
She wants to believe, right? She wants to believe. She wants to be with him again. You know, she feels bad about the whole thing. So I get that. So then he was like, all right, well, set it up. You know, we're going to meet. I'm going to meet him. Right? And then even the other guy. So then the next thing we see, I'm assuming either the same room that they dragged him in before they put him in the cell, or maybe another room. Only because of what happens in this scene. You don't want it too close to your other buildings, just in case, right? Everything goes ablaze. But regardless, he's in a room. This is Daryl. He's there. And they were like, all right, well, you're going to meet the man. This is it. You know, how do you feel? It's like, he doesn't give a shit. It's like, well, it's just another damn boss leader. You know how many of these have come across? You want to meet the governor? You know, you can't. He's dead. And, you know, all these other ones. But then Leah comes in and she's there. And she's like, yeah, this is going to be good. And, you know, doing that whole thing, whatever. And the other guys leave. You hear them lock the door. You see gasoline being poured under. And poof, they light it up. It's ablaze. Set them up on fire. So at this point, and this is how I'm going to get you guys insight on this, 2 things crossed my mind. And I know some people who watch the episode, but like, oh, no, there's no way. No. 2 things crossed my mind. One, that Pope no longer trusts Leah and felt that Leah had turned because she just rekindled her relationship with her old flame. It's like, forget it. They're both going to die. Or 2, this was a test to see how, if he's a soldier, if he can survive and escape from a burning room. So those
it seems like it seems it was a test for both Leah and for Daryl, because she essentially staked her life on him being who she said he was, because she would have died.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, she definitely would have died. What about you, Rich? Before we move forward on this one, because
I thought this was a great fake out, because I also thought they could have turned on her very easily, but obviously that was not the plan. So, and as a viewer, yeah, it was a good job, because normally in that situation you would think, okay, yeah, so they didn't believe her, so now they're turning on both of them. But the way they did it, yeah, I thought that was very well done, because it kept suspense of keeping you thinking. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, because it was interesting. Because once the room goes ablaze, it's on fire, everything. I'm looking at it, all right, what are they going to do? How are they going to figure a way out? It's only Daryl that fixes it. She stays back. She doesn't point to like, oh, look, there's a window over there boarded up. Let's work. None of that. She doesn't seem to help or interact, which tells me she was in on it. She was in on
Mhm.
it. She also, her reaction after the fact
Yeah.
wasn't like, "What the hell are you doing?" No. So that's why I was like, "Oh man, these guys are pretty messed up, and maybe they've done this before. Maybe this is a technique, and she was prepared for it. Maybe she had another way out if, let's say, he did panic, or she did trust him. I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, and I'm sure we'll get some of those answers in the next episode or the one after. So,
Well, they need to explain how Daryl didn't get cut.
oh yeah,
He broke that glass.
yeah. Well, he used his elbow and he had the cloth and stuff. They'll figure it out.
Well, no, he threw his fist first. He's like, ah.
Yeah.
Friggin'.
So
yeah.
he finds a window in the back and it's boarded up. So he just starts pulling it out. He doesn't ask for her help. He just starts pulling, yanking them out, yanking the nails. So he gets those out, elbows, boom, boom, gets out, and then he tells Leah, "Like, come on!" And he gets her out first. Then he follows, and they're out. Ta-da! The whole thing is ablaze, and we see the rest of the mercenaries all around and Pope, and they're just watching. And then that's it. The next scene, we see it's Daryl with Pope. And this is confession time. This is where it's all on the table. This is where Pope says, "Hey, you did it, trial by fire, and you survived. And like you said, not a scratch on you." And he tells his story of why he thinks they're the chosen people. Because the same thing, when they were a mercenary group in Afghanistan, they came back. They couldn't find regular work, so they became mercs. And then while they were doing their thing and doing dirty work, the Fallen, which is what they're calling what happened with the Walking Dead, with the dead walking, all that stuff happened, and they were in an area that everything was ablaze, whole fire, and it was a church that I think he said that they were in, and that the church didn't catch fire, and that they were all in there and they were saved. Everything else burned around them except them, and that's when they knew they were the chosen one. Not a scratch. Everybody was fine. He said, "Look at you, not a scratch. God has chosen you." And he had just told them a few seconds ago, this Daryl, when they asked him, "You believe in God?" He's like, "I don't believe in God. Not anymore. Look what's going on." So by him saying this, like, see, you're one of us now. This is forged by fire and that whole thing. And talking about just how rough things are out there and how to handle yourself. And I was like, come on now. Daryl has been through hell. He's had people try to eat him. Remember early on seasons, they were the cannibals.
Oh, yeah.
He's had people torture him. We had Negan and his crew torture him forever. I mean,
his brother tortured him his whole life.
His brother tortured him from the beginning. I mean, his life has been horrible. Like, that's what he was saying. He's like, I've been through worse. But yeah, you got me in this burning thing. Whatever. Like, you see me overreacting? No, I don't freak out. I'm numb to all this. But without saying it, Pope pretty much said it. He's like, you show that you also have some good in you, that you care because you got Leah out first. Then you followed. You didn't leave her there. Weren't vengeful or any of that stuff. So basically, you have feelings for her, and that means you have feelings for us, this group. We want to bring you in. So if you want to be with her, you got to be with us. That type of deal. But he's our boy Daryl is a man of few words, so he's like just listening. He's like, all right, whatever. He doesn't deny.
I just want my dog.
Exactly. He's like, hey, can I get my dog back? Can I go? No, he doesn't do that. He just like goes along with it. It's like, all right, whatever. Because I mean, what is he gonna do at this point? He can't just say, you know what? No, I passed your test, but I'm not interested, and you can keep the girl. I'm done. I just want my dog. No, so he's quiet. So the next scene, we see there, it's a big bonfire. I would say a campfire, but this thing is massive. Big fire. The crew around there, they're having their meal. And he shows up, and they just give him a look, whatever. And Pope is like, all right, he's family. New member, that whole thing. And then he gives a little speech about life and all this stuff going on. And then he looks at the other dude. I forgot his name, but this was the guy who carried Turner. Carlos, you had just mentioned before about the 10,000 miles or whatever, some ridiculous time.
10 miles.
10 miles. Oh, there you go. No, definitely not 10,000. So 10 miles. Yeah, he carried all.
We're not talking about Vanessa Carlin here.
Oh, yep. So he was like,
oh no, that's 1,000 miles.
1,000 miles. So he's like, look, I carried. He's like, oh yeah, and our brother over here who carried Turner, he brought him back to us. Even though he's dead, the whole thing, but he carried on his back. And he hugs him and he starts patting him on the back. It's like, all right, something's not right here. And he says, I just have one question. And Leah's like, come on, let's just let this go. I think she already knows something bad's going to happen. And he says, you have no other damage on you, like in the front part, but your back is all messed up, like as if you were, like you turned your back, like you were running or something. He said something to that effect, but pretty much pointing out the fact that it doesn't look like he really was fighting. It looks like he was running, and something happened, and so he kept saying, like, where exactly were you when Turner was getting attacked? Was like, oh, I told you where I was, and there's a whole thing, and he just doesn't buy it. And he takes his head and he just slams that shit right into the bonfire. And at first I thought it was like he was throwing him in, but no, you see his head's there and he's like, he's burning it. It's not like a Negan with the iron type of situation, because there's no coming back from this. This dude is dead. He just killed him. He just killed a member. And maybe that's the replacement. It's like, all right, well, we're killing you because you didn't help Turner. But hey, we just recruited Daryl. He's your replacement.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
so
I at first I thought maybe he's just gonna burn him a little bit, like, okay, this is your punishment or something.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
But we already have what's his name? The dude with the burn face, so we can't have two.
Yeah, Dwight. We have Dwight. We can
Oh,
only
Dwight.
have one. It's only one. Yeah, and this is what I'm saying with the scene that follows again. You just have to see the icon. So Leah gives Daryl a look, and they just give like this look, like it was at this point. I'm wondering if Leah's like, you know what, maybe I should be leaving. Maybe this isn't right, because clearly here it is. They're all about strength in numbers. They don't have a large group, and Pope over here just kills one off. And I still think that she knew about the fire, because she didn't overreact. She didn't go up to Pope and was like, what was that about? This and this and this and that. You could have told me. I think she knew. But there is that love for Daryl. And I think that's not mutual. I think Daryl is done with her. I don't think he cares at this point. He's like, you know what? If you're willing to follow this group and they've killed so many members. I mean, think about it. Let's say if Daryl, all right, just for sake of it, right? So let's just say if Daryl and Leah just run off together and they go back and they find Maggie. You think Maggie's going to be accepting? It's like, because remember, that whole group has been terrorizing them. That's the whole reason why Maggie and Herschel and them went back to Alexandria, because their whole group got destroyed by the Reapers. So it's bad enough.
Yeah, but I think we have to assume though that happened after. Oh, that happened before she. Well, no, actually, we can't assume. But maybe let's just say, what if that was before she joined? She obviously joined later. I wonder if they, ransacked, Maggie's place. That was before Leah joined the group. What if that was a possibility?
If people listen back, and I forgot what episode, it was definitely some episode, one of the episodes last season, when Maggie starts telling about her group and when they got attacked by the Reapers, there was children involved. They killed everybody. They just killed everyone that was there. They burnt them. Remember, they found bodies. It was really sad. So if Leah was part of that group when they did that takeover there, that's just devastating. Well, think about it. Well, here's the other part. Is that the camp that they're at now? We don't know. That could be the camp that Maggie's trying to go to. We don't know. If that's the camp, then yeah, Leah was definitely part of that invasion to take over everything. So it's a shame. It's a shame that she's gone to the dark side. Seriously, to the dark side. Because there we go. The episode was over. That was the closing of it. And we saw some of the teaser for the next episode, and it looks like it's just going to be all of Alexandria being attacked and stuff going on with Ezekiel and Eugene and them over at the Commonwealth. But then there was that little tease of, it looked like Alpha's mask, right? It was like you see in like a basement or a cellar, a door opens up and they just show a glimpse of a mask, and it definitely looked like Alpha's, because I saw some blonde streaks, and I don't think it's Beta. We know Beta's dead, but we also know Alpha's definitely dead. But somebody could have picked up the mask. Who knows? Or maybe it's just the mask.
Well, I feel like that was Alexandria, wasn't it? That was the where Negan was being held up. I thought
that too. But, but who would have the mask there? Because that's the thing. It's like, she wasn't killed there. Alpha wasn't killed at Alexandria. She was out in the boonies somewhere. Remember the shed that they were supposed to do the rendezvous, and Negan set everything up in motion. So I don't know. And even when he brought back the head as proof, it was just a head. It wasn't the mask on the head. So I don't know. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see. I don't think Leah is going to survive this show. I just can't. I don't see it as like, oh, this is a new character. No. And she has a complicated background, complicated story. Is she going to help him at some point escape? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe Daryl's gonna have to take her out in order to leave the group. Or maybe Daryl figures, hey, I have to stick around with these guys to see what they're doing. Because let's say he escapes and he leaves. Well, you try to find the others. You don't know where they are, right? Because everybody was scattered. So we know that Maggie and Negan, and then they did show a little bit of them. So who knows? Maybe we're going to get 3 different stories in the next episode. Because they did show a little bit of them working together with Maggie and Negan. So is he going to track them down? Or does he, if Daryl was to leave, does he go back to Alexandria and say, hey, that mission failed, we're in trouble? I don't know. So it just seems like it makes more sense for him to stay there as a mole on the inside, just to figure out what's happening. And now that they accepted him, he's not a prisoner. Not like the situation when he was with Negan. They kept him in a cell the entire time. Dwight hated him. So, I don't know. But it was good. I liked this episode. I liked the whole aspect of it. I liked the mercenaries. That makes sense. It links things up. We weren't too sure what type of group they were going to be. If this was a cult. I'm still up in the air of what the hell that ritual was. I don't know. What?
Oh, this is definitely a cult.
Well, there is some religion. He does throw that whole thing about God and this and this and this and that. But
the chosen ones.
Yeah, the chosen ones.
Yeah,
and throwing the name Pope. I'm sure his name isn't even Pope. You know what I mean? It's like maybe he just.
Well, he is right. They are chosen. They have been chosen to become some of the main antagonists for this particular final season of The Walking Dead. So.
There we go. That is true. Yeah, so it was all right. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think they're on the right path with this. A lot is going on. So for people that were like, oh, is this going to be a slow burn? And because in the past, it's always been the complaint that when there's a Walking Dead season, the only time you should tune in is after the mid-season break, because that's when all the goodies start happening, right? That's when they start killing people off or having big battles, and the earlier part is usually just talk. But that's not the case here. This is the final season. So we are going to start seeing things wrap up, and then surprising, look, hey, we got the Reapers, we got new stories developing. So this should be fun. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in and just checking us out. And again, tell your friends, this is it, Walking Dead. We are covering Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond. And we will be back next week. All right, everybody. Peace.
Take it easy.